Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing our first Q&A for this week, leading up to the 6th episode for The Walking Dead Season 8. In this one first, we're going to give our thoughts on what we think is up with that helicopter. And spoiler warning, if you guys are not caught up for The Walking Dead, which is up to Season 8, Episode 5, with Episode 5, of course, airing last night. So, if you guys didn't see my review for it, or you didn't see my predictions video, I did both of those. They're both in the channel right now, and I'll have them in the end screen videos when this video is over, so you can watch those. I'm doing a giveaway for some t-shirts, so you can enter that in the review for Episode 5, as well as, this weekend we'll do something similar for Episode 6 when that eventually airs. So, for this one, that's something that I didn't mention in the review, and it's just because of how much stuff they put into the episode. I try to cover everything in each episode, but I try to keep my reviews under 20 minutes. I generally don't like to push them higher than that because the stats show nobody really sticks around for more than about 15 to 20 minutes. After that, it's too long. But that's why I love to do the Q&As with you guys, because it gives us a chance to kind of focus on some takeaways or go over some things that we may have omitted, or I may have omitted from the review, just in the way the review goes after seeing the episode. So that is kind of a strange one that they put into this episode, which is you see the helicopter fly overhead with Rick kind of walking under it, and you hear it, you see it, Rick sees it, and it's kind of like, what? It's one of those, and I probably forgot about it during the review. I mean, I saw the scene and everything, but when I did the review, I probably forgot to mention it because it's just kind of like there, and then it's over, and it's hard to say, okay, well, what could it be? So we got a couple questions here. So Patrick Werick says, do you think that the helicopter seen in the end of the episode belongs to the junkyard group or somewhere else? And then Kirkle says, you didn't talk about the helicopter. Where do you think it came from? So now this one does feel repetitive, because I have done these videos before for Walking Dead. We've had a helicopter before, and after 100 episodes, with each episode being 42 or more minutes long, yes, we have had this kind of conversation before. It's not a new conversation. It's a new helicopter. It's a new episode, but we have seen helicopters before in The Walking Dead. So if you look back to near the beginning of the series and you look at, like Season 1, Season 2, if you guys remember the Season 2 herd at the end in Beside the Dying Fire, the finale episode for Season 2, was started by a helicopter going through. So the helicopter went over Atlanta, I think, and it caused all of the walkers to look up, see it, and start heading in that one direction, which was really well done and really cool. We also saw a helicopter with the governor there and kind of a crash, and that kind of brought Andrea and Michonne to Merle and to the governor eventually in Season 3. So it's not like it's the first helicopter we've seen, and you would see some in the zombie apocalypse, but to see one at this point is pretty rare, I want to say, because it's a few years into the zombie apocalypse now. To be seeing helicopters flying around, it's got to be flown by somebody who's a part of a surviving group or community. So that brings into question, which group do we think it's from? Do we think that the junkyard group has helicopters? I'd have to go back and watch those episodes from Season 7 and keep a close eye on the background, but I wouldn't think so. Do you guys think that they could actually have a helicopter that they could go? Does the junkyard group seem like the type of group that would know how to fly a helicopter? I don't think so. In terms of realism, some people complain sometimes about Walking Dead's realism nowadays. Well, I don't think that would make any sense if you had to be someone from the junkyard as like a spotter or something. So I don't think that makes sense at all. Now, could it be something to do with the Saviors? We have seen the Saviors having some pretty heavy weaponry. Maybe it could be as a part of the Saviors group, but I'd almost think more likely maybe it's not. Maybe it's just some other group out there that we don't even know about. It certainly wouldn't be the Whisperers. They don't really fly helicopters, and that's not their MO. So maybe some other group in the future later, maybe some that they'll come back to in a couple of seasons or something. Geez, man, I don't know. So if it's not the Saviors, then, geez. But, I can't think of any mentions or any setup for a helicopter that Saviors would have. Could it be a way for them to kind of escape or draw the herd out? Geez, I don't even know, man. I don't know if that would even help or anything like that. So I almost want to say, maybe it's unrelated to the war and everything we're seeing right now, and it will come into play maybe later on. Either that or, maybe one of the... but we probably would have seen it if it was at one of the outposts and one of them were going to kind of run off to kind of take off in it and go to the sanctuary. So that's really a tricky one. We'll see if it is the Saviors. It just feels like such an odd place to put it at in this episode when you have all that war going, you have all this stuff happening, if it's from another group. But I don't think it makes sense that it would be Junkyard. You know, Rick and the others, clearly not. We would know about it. So I would say probably either Saviors or some other new group with a Negan lean towards this way, towards some other kind of group. So let me know what you guys think about this one. Write your comments below. It's speculation. Where do you think the helicopter's from? Do you think it's Saviors? Do you think maybe it is still Junkyard? Or do you think that it could be a totally new group? I would lean towards a new group. That's really all we can say about it for now. I know it's a bit frustrating, you know, because you want to get the answers right away. But just like the helicopter we saw in the first couple seasons, maybe it's just kind of some kind of throwback to the beginning of the series because there's just so much stuff they're putting in that really parallels or just kind of points to Easter eggs to a lot of those things that we saw earlier on in the series that they're kind of doing this season. You know, so it's kind of fresh to see a new helicopter, but at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of been done before. So it's a bit tricky, man. We're going to have to see if it has something to do with Sanctuary. Center 24 says Morales was there in Atlanta when Rick and Glenn did the guts trick. Maybe he was, or maybe he was the one who told the Saviors about it. So that's possible. That's true that maybe he did kind of know about it from them. I can't recall, you know, it's been a while since I've seen the first season, but I can't recall them mentioning it to him specifically. You know, it's one of those that maybe it was him, but maybe it was just somebody else, or maybe Negan figured it out on his own. So I guess it's not that much of a stretch that Negan would know it. It's just, to me, it felt like a little bit strange that he would be using it because it kind of feels like something so specific that only certain groups really should know about it. But I guess after a while, pretty much everybody would figure it out, I suppose. The Fear of the Walking Dead group has figured it out already, and they're not even like, you know, they're right at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. David Farley says, Trev, do you agree with Daryl? Is he turning on Rick, and is he going to be a complete a-hole now? So, I mean, this one's tricky, of course, the conversation and kind of the, again, you know, not really a new theme in The Walking Dead. You can date this back to, you know, even like season 2 with Randall, some of that kind of stuff. What do you do? Do you kill him? Do you let him go? He's a kid, you know, this kind of thing. And it's kind of going back to the same kind of deal. Daryl's position is kill them all, you know, just kill them all. Absolutely. That's all there is to it. Rick is kind of like, well, some of them have babies and families, and some of them are workers, and we want them to surrender, and we don't want them necessarily to, we don't want a governor style kill them all. They're still the good guys. So, you know, so do I agree with Daryl in his position to kill absolutely everybody? I think I might have to go with Rick on this one. But I do think that I wouldn't go as far as Rick. If Daryl wants to plant the explosives there and try to blow the door down, I'm fine with that, to be honest. So I guess in this case, I agree with Daryl. Overall, though, more generally, you know, exterminating people, going through and just eradicating, killing everybody, you know, like the prisoners they have captured, just lining them up one at a time and just executing them all. That's really tough. I don't think that I'm somebody that would want to do something like that. But, you know, in this case, like if there's casualties of war as part of the battle and it makes sense to blow the damn door down, I definitely agree with Daryl that it makes a lot of sense to blow the door down. I mean, I think that that's a great idea. I think that they probably should have done that if they could have to begin with. Maybe they didn't have the explosives at that time at any of the communities. But yeah, you know, that makes a lot of sense that you would try to just, you know, go in and take the entire sanctuary down. Another question is, of course, with their whole plan that they had this season, I guess it makes sense, but at the same time, you know, maybe you just want to take your entire group and go right at the sanctuary with everything you got. Forget the other outposts, forget everything else. Go at the sanctuary 100% with everybody and, you know, blow the doors down. Maybe forget the zombie herd. Just blow the doors down, go in and clean it all out. Of course, if they did that and, you know, let's say even the Saviors are able to kill off a lot of them in the blowback, still you're going 100% all your forces in the one location. If you know Negan is there, get him. You know, that could be. But then, of course, if they did that, then they wouldn't have the story for the season. They wouldn't have all the battles and everything happening. So, it makes more sense, but as a viewer, it wouldn't be the funnest thing to see. So, but I guess I agree with Daryl in that case about the explosives. I think it's a good idea to try to blow the door down. I'm surprised it didn't try to do it sooner and let the zombies in, or whatever you got to do. Go in somehow, get in there by blowing it down. I just think it makes a lot of sense, but maybe not with killing all the prisoners. It's a tough question for sure. You guys can weigh in on this one in the comments below yourselves as well too. Just kill everybody is tough. Next one is, are you more on the side of Jesus and Rick that some saviors should be spared, or are you with Tara, Morgan, and Daryl and think they should all be killed to protect the group? So this is the same kind of thing, same kind of question, right? It's a big theme right now, and it's really tough, man. Logically, you're probably better off to just kill everybody. Yeah, emotionally, it's difficult to do, and it's hard to say that you'd be able to cold-heartedly go through and just kill them all and not hesitate or not think twice about it. That's a tough thing to do for sure. So yeah, that's really tricky, man. It's a tough question. You guys, again, you can weigh in on this one in the comments below. What do you do? It's not that easy, I don't think, to just say. Gabriel's fine, he says. This is from Jay Morris. Negan mentioned how you could get sick from the guts trick. They foreshadowed it big time. I don't think Gabriel has been bitten. So, no, I don't think Gabriel's been bitten either. I didn't get that interpretation when we watched the episode. I think Gabriel will survive this whole thing. With The Walking Dead, sometimes I feel like the closer you are to danger, sometimes the safer you are, in terms of the story. I don't think that Gabriel's going to go out like that. I think he's actually going to survive this. And I think he'll actually be okay. I think he'll see next season. I think he'll see season 9. I do. We'll do a couple more. Stefano Lomax says, Trev, and someone please teach Rick how to fight. My man has no hands when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. And then it said, and then someone else replied, seriously, the governor whoops his ass. Pete whooped his ass. Tyrese whooped his ass. Daryl whooped his ass. I'm pretty sure a one-legged man on crutches could whoop his ass. So, or in other words, Herschel. So that's funny. Some funny comments there. That's true that Rick does not win a lot of hand-to-hand fights. I'm trying to think of the ones that he did win. That's pretty tricky to think of. In the comics, he seems tougher. I mean, it's not Andrew Lincoln's fault, of course. He's trying to look good for the thing, so he's trying to stay really lean. He's trying to not gain a lot of weight because it looks best in the posters and looks best in the stuff for him to stay, as cut as he can be. In terms of fighting, is it good to be as light as you can be? No. Generally weight is a good weight is an advantage, meaning like musculature weight. Like if you have somebody take the same person, clone them, let's say have one go up to 220, have the other stay at 180 or 170 or something. Yeah, you're going to get an advantage at the higher weight, at least at the beginning of the fight. The longer the fight goes on, though, the lighter guy starts to get the advantage because the bigger guy is going to get tired more quickly. Generally, if they can survive the beginning, that's the big question, right? Is whether or not they can. So you could say, Andrew Lincoln's Rick is a bit light, so he's getting pushed around a little bit. Tyrese pushed him around, Daryl's pushing him around. But in the beginning of the series, him and Shane took Daryl down without too much trouble. Granted, it wasn't, but he did have a knife though, so it was 2-on-1. But at the same time, it was still kind of a tricky situation whenever someone pulls out a knife. So that's funny. But yeah, that's true. Rick does not win a lot of fights. So let's hope later on when we see him against Negan, he can pull that one out this season. If he loses to Negan too, it's like, oh damn it, when we see a final fight, if we do in the TV series. I don't even know for sure if we're going to. Last one will be from Clem Marie, who says, some reviewers are bashing The Walking Dead again on Twitter, calling tonight's episode the worst ever. Forbes. That's what it is. So, I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, and people argue this one with me, is that I personally think it's popular to hate on Walking Dead right now. I think it's become kind of a thing. It's become kind of a fad. It's become kind of popular to hate on the series. I still feel that way. Not that I like everything about the show all the way through. If you guys have been with the channel for a few years, there's certain parts of the series I did not care for at all. I hated some of the episodes. So, it's not like that. It's not like every episode I think is perfect either. But I also factor in the fact that, Walking Dead for several years beat NFL Monday Night Football. That's crazy. Yes, it's true. So obviously the show is incredibly good. I mean, I review other shows as well too. For me, 6.5 is average. The Walking Dead, because of the characters and the way they do the show, is generally almost always above average. As it should be, because it's one of the most popular series ever. Almost no series are going to touch, Monday Night Football. It's just not going to happen. There's very few. But, is this one of the weakest episodes they've ever done? No. I mean, no. No. Is episode 5 one of the worst episodes of The Walking Dead ever? No. It's an extended episode. You know, you get all kinds of stuff in the episode. You get a mix. You get some new things happening, you know, with Rick, like, for example, the helicopter, all the other stuff. You get Negan. You get a little bit of a guts trick. You get the question with what are they going to do? Things almost go crazy at the sanctuary. No, it's not one of the worst episodes ever. You can't say it's up there with still some of the episodes in the first half of season 7, The Cell and The Well, I would definitely say were, you know, not as good as this episode, I think. You know, I mean, it's not one of the worst episodes. At least everyone's entitled to their opinion. I don't want to take anyone else's opinion away from them. But I would say that definitely I do not think episode 5 is one of the worst episodes of The Walking Dead ever. No way. At least not for me anyway, as a viewer. Even the Daryl versus Rick fight by itself is better than some of the season 2 episodes, like some of the slow episodes from season 2. Where they're at the farm and there's like one zombie the whole episode or something. Anyway, that'll be it for today's Q&A, guys. Keep sending me your questions for tomorrow. Check out the review video if you want to enter in the giveaway. And, yeah, check out the video predictions for episode 6. Let me know what you guys think about the helicopter. Write the comments below. What do you think it could mean, and where do you think it's from? If you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it, and you can do it at the bottom left. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow for another. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.